Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you are having a great weekend so far. And in today's session, we are going to have a special episode because the focus of our discussion is only towards the banking sector. So, as you can see here on our screen, we have already presented all the banks that I will be covering tonight. So, many of those, as you can see, are on a wild sale, even up to 50% off. But let's see if we have reached the bottom for these stocks or have we started to reverse. And that will be the main discussion tonight. So, just hang in there. Maybe some of these stocks are in your portfolio, and we'll see. Now let's take a look at our chart here. Okay, so first we have BPI. Okay, that first would be BPI over here. Let's see BPI. So I'm using our Bollinger Band as our main indicator here, and of course our RSI as our secondary. As you can see here for BPI, we have already, since the time, so I'd like to use our um, March, because I know we started the quarantine back in March 18, I think. And from that time on, we have declined by how many percent? Let's say, when was that? March? I think around this period. That was the start of, even before that. So at the onset of the COVID. Okay, so this stock has declined by 41%. Okay, so as you can see here, I would have to say BPI has already reached the bottom and it has started to climb. I would have to say it has already improved its price by, it recovered by 32%. So I'd have to say if you are interested in BPI, I would have to say you need to have a long-term perspective towards this stock because at the moment it is starting to recover. Okay, and what's good about the price today is that it looks like it will give us a chance very near your MA20 line. And after that, I'd say most likely I'm seeing a possible recovery right away around 70.97, around that. So let's use that as our 70.76. That's our area of possible support there. Okay, let's start to look at the weekly chart. Anyway, this is really targeted towards, or this discussion is directed towards our long-term investors. Because, okay, on a weekly chart, I'd have to say our support would be around 68.26. That's more reliable. There will be, so you will expect a slight overshoot, uh, lower than the MA20 line. And it's also obvious because you have here our red candlestick sitting at the MA20 line right over here, and used to be, there was a resistance build up in this level. So it's really good to also widen your time frame or use a longer time frame to see an overall picture of the direction. So yeah, I'd say yes, BPI is starting to recover and take advantage of the retracements or correction, if others would say it, um, because that's our opportunity to buy at a cheaper price. Overall, this for me is just a short-term retracement, and then the next direction would be to the upside. Next would be Metrobank. Metrobank, as for Metrobank, looks like we are still sitting at the bottom. Okay, this is the support that I see for Metrobank, and you're at the weekly chart, by the way. So if I'm going to go back to the daily chart, this is going to most likely within the week experience some possible bounce in this area. As you can see here, that's your MA20 line. If that declines, then possible bounce would be around here. Second support would be 35.84 level. But overall, again, the overall tone of our discussion here is really towards investing in these major banks because they are on sale. So either way, from if you're talking about in being invested in this stock for a long time, you have already reached the bottom of this stock and very good potential. Talking about the fundamentals of this stock, again, one of the major banks in the country. Look at that. Annual earnings around 23.21%. Let's take a look at Q1 earnings. There was just a slight dip. Of course, negative 8.93. Others have already experienced big decline, almost 100% decline. But in the banking sector, I haven't really seen a tremendous dip in the revenue. There's a negative impact, but not really drastically pulling the price by or pulling the revenue by 100% decline. Look at this, it's just 8.93. And overall, you are still very near the bottom. So if you are into bottom fishing, you have already reached that. And you're not that far yet. So, another bank to consider. What about BDO? BDO over here also is giving us a chance. Sitting at the MA20 line, creating a stabilization at this level, we are still very near the support area, which is around 99 or 100 level. So find your entry, guys. You don't have to put everything in one day. For instance, if maybe an employee is watching this video, try to take advantage of this period. Every payday, try to allocate an amount you're willing to forget, because these banks that I'm discussing right now, these are major players, and you don't really expect big jump or fluctuations in the price if you're talking about companies in the index. Normally, they move so slowly, but you can sleep well at night having your money in, having your money invested in major players in the country. So I have discussed so far BPI, Metrobank, BDO, all, all of them are showing promising setup at the moment, except for BPI, who had already started its climb and it's just retracing at the moment. Next is RCBC. Let's take a look. IRBC. Resolve. RCB, yes, RCB. There you have it. Okay, this one, on the other hand, I really feel that there is still some more opportunity for us to get this at a much, much lower price. I'd say try to haggle around 15.57, 15.40 area. It's an area. So if you are interested in RCB, just hold on to your buying power first, because you can still get this at a much lower price. Otherwise, you might consider other banks to engage in, because other banks are already starting to show bullish movements. Okay, I have a few more banks that I can cover for you. In the meantime, our CB is still bound to give us some more declines. But overall, look at that. We are still at a very cheap level. Just in case, though, I'll give you a heads up. When the price touches this level, which is, let's say, a support area, and then your RSI is giving us a bullish signal, meaning let's say it's slightly higher, the previous point is slightly higher than this point, then you have a possible bullish divergence. And most likely it will do something like this here, right? It goes down, touches this level, and then start to move up. Sometimes it also does like this, goes down, stabilize at this level, sideways first before it goes higher again. So those are the possibilities of the movements in the coming days. Next is East-West Bank. East-West, as you can see today, if you were watching the market, this is actually the third day it has been on a bullish run. Look at that, with very good volume at the moment there. So I'd say if some people will take profit in the coming days, um, try to haggle for a few pesos. But again, if you are already a long-term investor and you know that you want to engage in this stock for a long, long time, this level, okay, so I'm talking about an area, it could be from 7.59 to 8.20. That is already a very promising area to start buying some shares. Okay, so even if it declines for a few pesos, it's still at a healthy level, because I'm thinking it might even do something like this, okay, and then move higher. Overall, there might be a possibility in one of the days next week, it will touch the 7.59 again, because that's your support. If not, just anywhere between that and 8.20 would already be a very good level, because we're just still doing some sideways here. And then as soon as it starts to trigger, look at this. In fact, it's starting to trigger the upper band. As soon as it starts to trigger the upper band, expect dramatic increase in the price in the coming days. Look at where you are at right now. So I was mentioning earlier in my thumbnail. Okay, I'll use that, by the way, in my thumbnail. Look at this. This was a decline by how many percent? That's a 40% decline, right? Imagine that. It even reached up to 52%. Okay, this was from December. Let's try to use the more recent one back in February, because that was really the height of, the pandemic. 49.46%, around that level. So almost 50%. And at this point, it has already recovered by how many percent? 21%. So there's still a long, long way to go from the previous high over here, which was back in 2017. Uh, the market has rested and has given an opportunity for those people who may have just discovered the stock market now. So it's not yet too late, guys. So try to be more uh, conscious of your spending habits instead of shopping online, spending on things. Why not save for, you know, save save for the rainy days? This is another example. The pandemic that we have experienced is a perfect example that if you were able to save prior to this, you will be able to survive. I know there are a lot of companies that shut down in the country, and finances of the people were really shaken by this incident. So maybe it's about time, it's about time to make a lifestyle change if we can. The next one, of course, is the last one is PNB. PNB. PNB is still very near the bottom that we have here. I'd say, what are the chances of it reaching that level again? I'd say 50%. There is still a possibility that it will touch that level again. In fact, even up to here. Okay, use this as our support. Because the reason why I said that is we are currently lower than the MA20 line here, so it might push the price lower, and I'd say it might even reach a double bottom. And by the time you reach a double bottom, observe. So let's say it touches, this is your first bottom over here, and then when it touches this area again, try to see if we still maintain the same higher point here compared to this point. So that means you are now about to face a bullish divergence. So just wait for it. I know there is still a chance that it might touch that. So either you wait for this or you go to other banks if you're interested in adding a stock in the banking sector on your portfolio. Okay, so it's also good to diversify um, the allocation of your investment. You maybe have investments in consumer goods, in real estate, banking, and other sectors. Okay, but this now the focus of this video is really to uncover where are the companies in the banking sector are sitting at the moment. Okay, so now that you've seen them, it's time for you to decide. Overall, my recommendation is, of course, invest. I'm not recommending any bank right now, but the idea of investing, that's something that I want to rally to all of you guys. If this is the first time you've watched my video, maybe it's about time, right? It's about time to start considering the stock market as an option for your investments. Okay. If this is the first time you've watched the video, guys, know that we're doing this every day. So if you like it, go ahead and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you're always updated whenever we have new videos. In the meantime, thank you and good night.